Hey guys, it's Melissa with Melissa Peterson Designs. Sorry it took me a little bit to get logged on here. Let me get my thing set up here. There we go. Make sure the volume's off. Meryl's been playing with my iPad, so I'm trying to teach him how to use that, so hopefully he didn't turn the volume on. He didn't. Good. Melissa with Melissa Peterson Designs. I hope you guys have had a great New Year so far. My project this month is going to be seeing if I can salvage this Hobby Lobby sign I got on clearance probably 5+ years ago for $5. So we will see. If not, it's, you know, I've gotten plenty of use out of it. We'll see. So basically, this fell apart. This came off my wall a couple times, and morning, Pat. This came off my wall several times, and the last time it finally just fell apart, which I thought, well, I like how it looks, but I want to see if I can salvage it. And I started cleaning up the glue that was around the edges on the outside. And then I realized as I was cleaning it up, I also have some of the decorative molding missing. So I wanted to see if I can fix that. So plans changed a little bit, so I'm going to flip you down and I'm going to show you how I made a mold for this, and then we're going to see if we can use some paper clay and kind of fix that. And then next week we'll go in and I'll probably use Slick Stick because this is kind of shiny and I don't want my paint rubbing off. So I'm going to flip you down here. Hey Kelly, how you doing? Happy New Year, guys. Okay, I hope I didn't make you dizzy. Let me make sure you guys can see this okay. And nope. Sorry, there's a little bit of delay. I'm going to push you down a little bit here. See if that kind of helps. So that nice little rough area there. So I want to see if I can salvage that. So I'm going to go to a good area on here, and I've already done some practicing this morning. Because I had one of those, you know, mornings where I couldn't sleep. Okay, let me get you on there so you can see. So basically you can use like oil on here because you want to prime it first so your glue doesn't stick. So I'm going to use hot glue to make my mold. I don't have spray oil, I just have liquid oil, so I'm just going to generously rub an area where I want to make my mold. And I only need from like this little crevice up. But I want to make sure that any glue that gets on the other area doesn't stick to it, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe that down a little bit too with some oil. Okay. Now, this is probably, I think this is the second stick I've used. So I brought one down just in case I need to load my gun again. So I have a regular hot glue gun. Technically, I could, you know, build this up and make, you know, like some wood slats here and maybe line them with parchment paper. I don't have parchment paper, so I just basically use gravity and just start gluing and letting it dry. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller than I did what I need it for because I already have one made. This was my first attempt and it would have been just fine, but I have a little area here where I must not have gotten the glue covered, so that won't work as a mold. So this is my second attempt. So I'm going to show you how I made that. So basically you just kind of put that in there and let that kind of set up a little bit, and then I just kept adding a little bit of glue, and I kept my frame tilted up a little bit so it would stay in that spot. I think my dresser's providing more of a shadow. Oh, when I get done here today with you guys, my Mod Podge came in so I can do my last dresser drawer. I'm so happy. Now I can get that lined and I can finish painting. So I'll be working on that until about 1:30, 2 o'clock before I have to log on to work. See, that still needs a little bit more time to set up. I'm going to go ahead and just add a little glue over here. And it'll drip down a little bit, which is no big deal. Because we primed this with some oil, so if it drips down on there, it should come off pretty easily. And to help me get it off, because some of it it didn't stick horribly, but just to help me give me a head start, I use one of my little pottery spatulas I have that I bought to use with my paper clay. Since this is more wrapped around. And the second one I made was pretty thick. So it took several coats of glue of me doing this and just kind of building up on it. I almost need like a cool gun or something to cool that off quicker. So I hope you guys had a great New Year's. I got some photos I worked on yesterday. I'm going to plan on adding to the library. They're stock photos. So if you guys have any ideas for them, you can use them for whatever you want to use them for. They're with kitchen supplies. I've got my Etsy store almost completed, so I'm going to start working on the library again. It feels good to get caught up. And Pat from Salvaged Soul, she's made the official announcement with Tracy's Fancies coming to her store for a conference in April. So if you guys are in the Iowa area, you need to check out Salvaged Soul and check that out. And you can learn to paint with Tracy. And we can check out Pat's store at the same time. So basically we're just building up on the mold, and as that cures and it dries within like 15-20 minutes, we can peel that off. So, and that's how I created this basically, but I just made it a little bit thicker than what that is there, so I just kept building on it so that way it's more firm. Okay, so this part I haven't done yet. Let me make sure you guys can see okay. I'm turning things around a little bit so that way hopefully the light's not casting that shadow. Usually I have issues with too much sun. There we go. I double bag my paper clay so it doesn't dry out. I use Ziploc gallon bags, and I buy this paper clay off of Amazon. Let me see if you guys can see that. There we go. I got a little bit of a delay here. Okay. So once that area dries over there, I can peel it off and kind of show you what it looks like. So that area there, I'm going to see if I can try and fix that. So I'm getting my paper clay and I'm trying to roll it in a little ball. So it's one piece. I technically won't need very much, I don't think. And when I do get ready to glue that on it, when we get done here, I'll probably use the E6000. So I'm going to put the paper clay in the mold. And that mold takes up pretty much the whole area that I need, because I've got a chip here and I've got this long gouge here. Fingers crossed this works. Otherwise, I just may have to, I don't know, paint over it and just hide it or camouflage it. I was hoping I wouldn't have to. So we will see. This glue still has a little bit of oil left on it from the frame when I made it. Okay, fingers crossed, guys. Oops. Ow. Like, which way do we go? Yeah. Okay, let's pull that out. Okay, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that on there. I don't have all the details on here, so I'm gonna do that again. I think I do have on that side, but that's bent. Let me try it again. This will be interesting. Just scraping off the excess. And there we go. So now I just gotta figure out how to get that on there. I'm just playing. Okay. And that's taking it right up. Let me see here. You know what I did not do was prime my mold with any powder. Ooh. Guys, I think we got a winner here. I may have to practice that again. And that might have just been a fluke, if you want to be honest. But it definitely filled in the gaps there. What do you think? Well, guess we'll see how that dries. I have this area here I want to see if I can fix, so I'll probably just maybe play with that and just kind of fill it in and just roll it in that way instead of using the mold. But I have a little bit of design in there, and that's not bad for what, my second attempt. So, and then this, yeah. This needs to be thicker, so technically if I was going to keep doing this, I would have just kept piling on the glue and making it thicker. And that was maybe like half a stick of glue right there for that much space. So, only bad thing is with this, I don't have any glue on here. So I don't know if I can maybe apply a layer of glue over that and then paint it, since I kind of molded that in there. There we go. Okay. Let's see if I can fix that spot. just kind of pushing that in there. Okay, I will figure out how to adhere that, because I don't want to take that off if I don't have to, because I kind of like how that turned out. It's better than what it was before. And remember, I'm planning on, I'm actually, I guess I didn't tell you this, but I'm going to apply Slick Stick. I'm going to wait till next week though, because this will have to dry anyway before I can do anything with it, because it's still malleable. I can just tear that right off if I don't let that dry. I'll do Slick Stick next week. Oh, see what I mean? I gotta stop playing with it. So, let me pull you back up here. And flip you around. So, I'm going to do Slick Stick on that next week, and then I will, with you guys, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to try and do most of this online with you guys. Any questions, let me know, and I hope to see you this weekend and next week. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey guys, it's Melissa with Melissa Peterson Designs. Sorry, I've got a new setup I'm trying out here. Let me see if I can get this pulled up. Yeah. So, hang on a second. I am working on a Hobby Lobby sign that fell on me several times over the last several years and finally broke. Sorry about this. I'm trying to pull up just in case I can see any questions come up if anybody has any questions. And hang on a second. Come on, come on. Perfect, there we go. Okay, oh shoot. Perfect, there we go. Got the volume down. Okay, so this is my project I'm working on. I'm hoping to salvage. Last week I went on and managed to make a mold in the private group out of hot glue, and because I had a couple gouges here that I needed to fix. I was able to do that. I've got some of the details in this patchwork I did, so it's not perfect, but it'll kind of blend in once we get done, I believe. So that's my hot glue. I probably used maybe half of a stick to make that. While I was getting ready this morning, I realized I still don't have this put together, so that's what I'm going to have to work on right now. Let me see if I can drop you down just a little bit so you can see better. There we go. So if you have any questions, let me know. It's not going to be a very long live. I'm going to use both my E6000 and some hot glue to put this back together. And since this material is pretty slick, I'm going to prep it with some Dixie Belle Slick Stick, which I have right here. I usually get a small jar of that because with my small projects, I don't use very much. So this has a nice little lip. I'm going to put some of my E6000 on there. And I have a backup container just in case for some reason this isn't going to come out. Come on. You know the best laid plans. There we go. This will take a little while for it to cure and dry, so I'm going to actually, when I get this laid out, I'm going to put some hot glue to kind of help tack it down while this all sets up. So I'm just trying to keep it on the inside of my lip. I've got my hot glue gun. I'm just going to add a little bit here and there. Some of the hot glue came out. Once that cures or kind of cools off, I can pull that out. So I've got a couple little areas right there. And that is flushed down, so that's good. Okay, let's see if I can get those off. There we go. So I'm trying to decide what design I want to put on here, because I'm planning on making a stencil for this. I think I'm going to put it back in the kitchen. Originally this was oriented this way. I think I want to go this way instead and do it horizontal. I don't know if I have any questions. Let me see if I can see any here. No, I'm sorry. If you got any questions, I'll come back and ask, or come back and look. So I'm just cleaning off the hot glue that kind of oozed out a little bit before I start priming with the slick stick. Let me see here. Morning, Pat. How you doing? Hi, Lori. Pat, did you give me your word of the year? You did, didn't you? For me to work on? There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to use just basically a regular square artist brush since I'm working on a small project, and Dixie Belle Slick Stick. This is the same material, same stuff I used when I painted those metal signs from Hobby Lobby. I was asked to do for a graduation guest book, and also somebody also wanted one for their wedding. Their wedding reception, but I don't know if they actually used it because I never saw any follow-up pictures. But it was really pretty. I had used this material to help the paint adhere to the slick metal surface. This isn't metal, this is plastic, but it's got such a slick surface, I'll make sure that when I paint it, it sticks to it. I'm going to do 2 coats of this. I'll do the first coat, let it dry for a couple of hours, and I'll come back and do a second coat. And then I'm going to see if I need to actually do actual primer like the Boss, because I'm planning on having this to be white when I get done. And I don't know how much of this is going to show through once I get the 2 coats of Slick Stick on it, because Slick Stick is not a primer. It just provides a surface for your paint to stick to when you have a slick surface. So I'm just getting it in the edges, and then I'm wiping it smooth. So I've got those details. Let me get the other side where I had the molding. Let's see how that covers. Not too bad. Not perfect patch job, but it's better than that gouge I had. we'll have to see once I get this all covered. I'm going to have to come back. I had a little bit of hot glue come out of that, so I'll have to come back and take that glue off and then redo the slick stick over it, so I don't have that bump. Yeah, and you can kind of see the design kind of popping through there a little bit, so we'll have to wait and see. But basically you're just painting this stuff on. And I get mine through Anna at the Furniture Boutique in Knoxville, Iowa, or I order my stuff online at dixiebelle.com. So if you got any suggestions on what to put on here, I don't know if I want to add any more molds, decorative molds that I bought. What do you think, Pat, if you're still on? My kitchen is white. I was planning on doing this in white, and I've got this decorative mold along the side here. I was hoping to highlight somehow. I could always add some mold on the top, and then I can do a design in the center. And Danielle and I have always talked about having a sign that says, "In this kitchen we dance," because we've danced in our kitchen quite a few times. So I was kind of noodling that phrase. Of course, my husband's a big barn buff. We've got barn pictures in the closet upstairs because we had them out, and then I got tired of them for a while, and I'll pull them back out again, and just kind of depends on my mood. Just like his barn dishes in the hutch. So that is basically it. I have to do the two sides. I'll let that dry, and then I'll come back and do a second coat. So I might not have to do a coat of primer because the two coats of this lipstick might be just enough. I'll have to wait and see. You guys got any questions, let me know. This is a project I'm working on in the private group. I thought I'd stay on in here for a little while and just do this here. So I hope to talk to you guys later. You guys have a great week. Bye. Hey guys, it's Melissa with Melissa Peterson Designs, and I've got Daniela with me. We're going to work on my sign for a little bit before we start painting on her bathroom. I sent out an email to the MPD tribe this weekend and asking about what I should do with this regarding using molds or transfers or a stencil I've got picked out. I decided to do all three because the voting kind of came back with all three. So we're going to try and see if we can make part of it work today. I have two stencils picked out. I used this one on Daniela's jewelry box last month, and I got this one. I wanted to check out. I got this from Anna at Furniture Boutique. So I'm going to see about using this one around the corners and see if I can piece part of it on there, because I painted the sign black since we met last week. After I made a mold and I fixed a couple gouges on there, and then I decided to paint it black because my kitchen's white. I'll probably end up putting this over, like I like putting it over on the cupboards. Oh great, now I can't hardly see these. So these stencils come in pieces, and you can cut these and mix and match. So I think, let me see. Yeah, I'm going to borrow your scissors, babe. Oh, there we go. So I think I'm going to get this part on first before we figure out which molds we want to use. And I'm going to make Daniela do the molds. Do you have powder of any kind? Baking powder, baking soda, baby powder. I didn't bring that. I had to pack up all my stuff and bring it here, so I knew I'd forget something. So basically I cut part of the stencil that I want to use, which is hard to see.
Powdered sugar?
Huh?
I have baby powder.
Oh, baby powder. Did you say sugar?
I have powdered sugar.
Powdered sugar. Where'd that?
It's either powdered sugar, flapjack mix,
yeah.
powder.
Oh, so container? Did it have a thing in there?
No.
It didn't.
Have what thing in there?
Squeegee thingy.
Oh, no.
Okay, normally these do. But thankfully, oh, here we go. Normally these come with like a thing to squeeze on. Squeeze, push, transfer. I can't think. Okay. So originally when I bought this sign, it was, I'm gonna have to redo this because the hanger's like this, and so it's hung up like this. I want to do it this direction. Put you down here. Hi, Kathy. How you doing, girl? There's Daniela. Poor girl. I'm making her do this with me. So we're going to take the backing off. It's kind of like working with the stencil. And with these things, you can seal over them. You can wax over them. You can paint over them. I want that going over there, do you think? Okay. Okay. So basically I'm just going to rub it until it transfers onto my sign. Do you want to find it, see if you can find the other one, like this, the corner, and cut it for me? I think I want to do at least 2. I'm not sure if I want to do all 4 corners though. Play it by ear.
Where'd you put them?
Oh. So when we get done here, we're going to be painting on Daniela's bathroom. So her bathroom is about the size of mine, so the 2 of us in there painting is going to be kind of fun. And you just keep rubbing it until it transfers onto your thing. And you can kind of pull up a little bit, and if you don't have it all down there, you can just put it back down and keep rubbing. You found it? Yep. Good. Now, do you want to go through the molds and see what you think would look good with this one? Since you can kind of see now what's going on. And with these transfers, these things are so nice because if you're transferring this on wood, you can sand it. This is not real wood, so I'm not going to be sanding over the transfer to kind of blend it in. But when I get this all figured out, I'm going to put a coat of sealer on this to protect it. And it's going over the edge a little bit. So I'm just kind of using my fingers to kind of rub it into the crevices over there. You need help? Oh, and I've got this new one too.
You want to put the mold out?
I don't know. I gotta leave this area open for my stencil. So, okay. What do you think? Oh.
Oh.
Huh?
You put the other stencil on that side.
Or down here is what I'm thinking. Oh. Can you see it? Oh, there you go. Can you see it? Think about putting the stencil, the opposite stencil down this side. What do you guys think? You're noodling? I'm just using my fingers to kind of get the area that's going over the edges. Takes a little bit of elbow grease. I feel like I'm yelling. You're gonna have some coffee here after a bit? Okay. Good. I brought some stevia. Okay. And that is the first transfer. Kind of a white chalky flower. And I've got it going over the edge a little bit on purpose. And Danielle is going to check out and see what molds we want to put on here. Depending on what she picks out, we might glue it on today, and I'll use the wood glue if we do. Or I might have to put it on after it dries. Because it depends on if I have to paint it before it gets put on or paint it after it's put on, where it goes. And we'll go ahead and do this one. You got one picked out yet?
No, I'm trying to figure out whether try the opposite, the two stencils.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? No pressure. No pressure. This is hard on my knees.
I grabbed a pillow.
Oh, smart girl, you. You should have seen my car packing all the stuff over here because I brought stuff to paint the bathroom. I brought the stuff for this live, so there would have been no room for a second person because my car was packed. I even had to bring a fan because we're going to have to, in the bathroom, we're going to have to put a coat of primer on the ceiling first before we paint. So we'll need a little help with it drying. And once again, I'll just use my fingers. Get it around the edges. And Danielle, even the molds can kind of overlap this a little bit too if you want. Okay. But then I'll have to paint them first before we apply them. Is that, oh hey, that's Carol Crowell's watching. Hi Carol, how you doing? I got my contacts in correctly this time. Last week I was wearing my contacts during the live and it turned out like one of my contacts in my eye was not in there correctly and I couldn't see very well. You think you'd notice that right away. But that's not the first time I did that. The first time I did that was when we went to Chicago, and my eye was bothering me, so I took my contacts out and put my glasses on. And by the time we got to Chicago, I was going down Michigan Avenue. Turned out I had a second contact in there, and it fell out. Driving down Michigan Avenue. It was a weird experience. Did you figure out?
I like this one.
Okay, go ahead and get started. You know what to do. So, Danielle has decided to do this rosette. So she's going to go ahead and start making a, how many molds are you going to make? Two molds. Okay. Where are you going to put them? So, okay, so since we're going to kind of overlap the two molds she's going to make, I'm not going to apply them today. I'll wait until they cure first. and then I'll paint them before we put them on. You want to use this? Use a sheet to put that on, or what do you think? Am I taking up all the room? We're using Danielle as a coffee table to craft on. There you go. So kind of save your mess there. And I've almost got this transfer off. So if you just started joining, we're going to do all three. When I sent that email out this weekend, I asked if you wanted like molds and an old world finish, or transfers, or my stencil design I made, and I decided to do all three because it sounds like the results were a little bit mixed. There was a variety of everything, so we're going to see if we can make all three work. And I'm putting on a Prima transfer that I got from Anna at the Furniture Boutique called Love and Dreams. And it's kind of like a chalk design. And we're just kind of mixing and matching. I cut off the corners of it to apply on here. So you don't have to use the whole stencil. You can mix and match them. And since this is not on wood, it's on like an MDF board and plastic, I'm going to not sand it. I'll just, when we get done, I'll just seal it with sealer right over the transfer. I might do some wax on here, I don't know. It just kind of depends on what I think might look good. So there's that, my progress so far. And I've always wanted the design in this kitchen we dance, because in my kitchen, you know, there's not a whole lot of cooking going on, right? And we have danced in there several times. So I've always wanted that saying in there. So things have kind of changed, and I've overlapped the transfer around the edges. You can do that. I think this is pretty. And Daniela's working on her molds. And also another way to make that smooth is you can put a little your finger in water and just kind of rub over it. And that'll help it too. So. So I probably will paint the molds black, and then I'll do my old world finish and just kind of work like with maybe like a gray and dry brush it, and then a white and dry brush it. Is what I'm thinking. But I'll have to do that before we apply them, and then I'll have to carefully apply them on here. I think it'll be kind of neat to have these areas a little bit bare, and then have the design here with my saying. That's probably a good idea. Anyone want to come paint bathroom today with us? She's making molds with her pretty nails. You getting it?
I think so. It's different than the other stuff we used to use.
Yeah, I like the other stuff, but it stained my hands. Too bad. So let me see. Oh, she's using a paper clay that we got from Amazon. I think it's like $13, and it's white. I was getting some stuff from Hobby Lobby, and it was black. I really liked the content of it because it was a little bit more moist. But if you don't wear gloves, it'll stain your hands. And then I had issues with my hands kind of swelling up from being stained, and I couldn't get the material off my hands. You getting her? Oh, perfect. So that's the mold. have 2 of them. We'll put 1 in each corner like that. So, and then we'll have a second one, and I'll work on that this week. And next week I'll go ahead and stencil this, and hopefully you'll be ready to seal and go. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. We're gonna let you go, and then we'll get to painting too. So you guys have, you guys have a great week. Bye guys. Hi, it's Melissa with Melissa Peterson Designs. I am back on. I'm finally going to finish up my Hobby Lobby sign. I was getting ready this morning. I actually printed off 2 stencils. The first one I printed off I don't think was quite long enough, so I had to do a second one. I'm going to apply that, and then the molds that Daniela made last week, I got them painted last night, but I'm going to embellish them and kind of give them like an old world finish. But I'm going to do a little bit different colors. Granted, this is black, and that's what I've used before, but I'm going to do 2 different colors on top. So I'm going to, let me see here a second. I was going to have my other thing on to see if I could see any comments when people come on. And I can't even get it to turn on. Okay, well, we'll just forget that. So I'm going to put you down here. I use contact paper for my stenciling, and I bought this one from Amazon. You can get it also at Walmart, and it comes in like 18-inch rolls by 20 inches long. Silhouette Cameo 3 only cuts up to 12 inches, so you have to cut it down, which is no problem because on the back side you'll have grids so you can cut straight lines, which it makes it really easy. So I have my stencil already cut out, and I use clear contact paper to transfer it. Make sure I get that on there. So I put clear contact paper on there. Let me find my squeegee. This is my favorite squeegee. Try not to get any wrinkles on this part, but if you do, it's not the end of the world. Just keep working with it. You'll take the backing off carefully. I have no nails. Oh, Melissa. Hang on. There we go. So basically it's the backing and the actual sticky contact paper. And if part of your design comes up with it, just push it back down. And then I've got some backing ripping. That's been happening lately. Hey, Miss Mackenzie. How you doing, sweetie? So this has been happening lately. I'm not quite sure why, but it's still workable. You just gotta kind of kill as you go. There we go. Now on this one, I do not have a border because I was in a hurry to get this cut this morning before I came on, so I'm going to have to just eyeball it. So if you're type A, this might make you cringe a little bit. So I got the where I want it, so I'll go back over and do my squeegee. And then you take off the clear contact paper carefully. Okay, and then you gotta watch the letters inside that aren't attached. They'll want to come up too sometimes. Just push them back down. And then I tend to reuse my clear contact paper over and over again until it loses its stickiness. Okay, there we go. So that's where we're at so far. I'm not used to the whole video thing. Okay, so I'm gonna burnish the stencil on there so that way my paint doesn't seep through when I do my final coat. There's black underneath, and you can use either Mod Podge or you can use the base coat that you've done. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint black over the stencil. And I didn't have enough paintbrushes. So basically you're just filling in the gaps. And if you see any stencil that's bubbled up, push that down before you do this and try and get this to seal. Mackenzie, what are you up to, honey? Are you working today or school? Or is it your day off? Oof. I'm at the end of this paint jar. I can't wait to get rid of it. I'm starting to go to, I love Dixie Belle paint. I'm using Caviar, but I'm going to the small jars. My projects are too small, and sometimes I have issues with opening up the jars. If you've seen my past videos where I'm banging them and using a hammer on them, and saran wrap over them tends to help for the next time. And so we're gonna let this dry. So that's burnishing, because the base coat is black. So I burnished the stencil, and I'm gonna let that dry. Now I'm gonna play with these. Hopefully I don't ruin them. These are the ones Daniela made last week for me. These are like little rosettes. Taking a homework break. There you go. Well, this might be longer than your break, but you know, if you come back, that'd be great. So I got little rosettes here. So I'm going to try and highlight the details on there. And if it was a bigger design, I'd use a bigger brush. I'm just using a regular artist brush. My kitchen is white, and I love blue. So I'm going to do Savannah Mist and kind of highlight those details. And if I ruin it, it's no big deal. I'll wait till it dries, and then I'll just come back and paint them black and start over again. So this is kind of an experiment. So basically I got some paint on my brush. It's not a lot, but I'm not dry brushing either. And I'm just gonna rub to the side instead of going like this. Because I want the details to show. So I'm actually going to do 2 layers. This will be blue and the top layer will be white. And my top layer I will dry brush. Don't let me forget, when we get done, I'm going to announce the winner for the Valentine frame. So that's the second layer. So that's the second step for the old world finish. So the black is still showing through. And this color has kind of like a blue-gray hint. I'm not being that stingy. Oh, I forgot my silver glaze. So there's the second one. I'll let that dry. And my stencil, when I burnish it, should be dry, so we'll go ahead and stencil that now. Now when it comes to stenciling, I like to let the paint dry before I remove the stencil. But if I have something that's really small details, like smaller letters than what's on here, sometimes I pull it wet, but you gotta be very careful because the paint that's wet might splatter back onto your sign. So this will be no problem, so I will let this dry. So hopefully it'll be dry before we get done today. And I just lost the saran wrap. So I just got one of my cheap brushes. Technically I could use like a sponge, those pouncers, and I'm just gonna pounce with it over my stencil. And this is Dixie Belle's Fluff, or their white. There we go. One of their whites. I'm having issues. So, I hope everybody had a great weekend. We took Daniela out for her birthday dinner, because that's one of our family traditions. It's birthdays, we get to pick where we go as a family to eat. And she picked Mexican and Ottumwa. They had really good food. We went to Mimi's. Never been there before. I already got my place picked out, but it won't be till August. We'll be going back to Centerville to the Continental. They've got my sweet potato fries there. And of course, prime rib. Merrill's birthday's in March, and I was trying to pin him down, but he won't give me an answer, so. He was throwing out McDonald's. You know, the dollar meal. So I'm just pouncing along the stencil. And if you don't think you have very good coverage, once this layer is dry, you can go back and do a second coat and then let it dry again, but I think this will be fine. Because when you pounce, you tend to put on more paint. And Dixie Belle's got pretty good coverage. Missed my part of my eye. This is where I want to do some sweeping. But usually that's not a good idea when stenciling. What about bogeys? Yeah, I like bogeys. Have you been to the Continental, Mackenzie? Yeah, Merrill has his way. We'll be going to McDonald's. I'll throw a fit on that one. It's like, nope. Yes, it's good. Yes. Yes, I miss Brooklyn's and Blakesburg. I wish we still had them. Merrill liked giving them a hard time. Because Bob would usually dish it right back. Does Bogey's have sweet potato fries? Okay, so that is stenciled. Now if you accidentally splatter any paint where you don't want it, you can use a baby wipe to wipe it up quickly. Just a heads up. Oh, I shouldn't have shut that yet. Okay, so these won't take long to dry. I'm going to do a third layer, and this time I'm going to go over the white with that. No, I don't think so. If they do, I've never had the, yeah, we probably have to ask them. So I'm going to do white over, so this will be 3 layers to get the old world finish. I'm going to use a fan brush. You can technically use a brush like I did before, but you want your brush to have less paint. So you might want to kind of wipe it off first. And then we're just going to lightly brush over it because we want less paint on there than what we did with the blue. And I think when that is done, I have some silver gilding wax because my sign has some details around the edge I want to kind of show off. So I'll probably go over that with some silver gilding wax also. So I'm just kind of do like an old world finish, and you can go in different directions, and that'll hit different areas of your design here. And this was made from that paper clay mold that we got from Amazon. And I don't have it here, but we did it last week at Daniela's house when she made that. So we got a little bit of hint of blue, a little hint of white, and the black details underneath there. So that's kind of like an old world finish. So I'm kind of happy with that. So let me see here. Oh, I'll go ahead and do the names while that sign's drying. So from Friday I had technically 8 shares, but mine doesn't count. I shared in my private group. So empty cup, I got my list of names. Yikes, there we go. I'm having issues. So we'll go ahead and draw names for the winner of these frames. I'm having issues. I had a feeling I was going to forget this, so let's get you back down. And hopefully when we get done with this, my sign's dry. And then I can show you how it looks stenciled, and maybe I can apply the mold to it. I don't want to keep you on here waiting while paint dries. Okay. Never done this before, so this will be interesting. I have a craft in mind for Friday. I gotta play with first because I don't trust myself doing it live without making one first, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, here we go. Becky Swart is the winner. So I'll tag you, I'll need your address, private message me, and I will get this sent out to you by Thursday. Okay, Becky Swart. And she's an MPD tribe member. So, and you'll get your pick, whichever one you want, the plaid or the stripes. Okay. Let me see. That is almost dry. I have just a sanding block here. I tend to run that over the stencil a little bit just to break it down a little bit. And that helps prevent the paint from being pulled up when the stencil's pulled up. And you just pull slowly. Okay. Let's see how that looks. That's where we're at so far. And I'll have to share a picture again of what it looked like before I started, because I've had this sign for maybe 10 years. Okay. So these molds are just going to go in the corner. And I'll just use regular wood glue to apply them. Just like that. So let me not do it over my sign because I will spill. Basically like a thin coat, thin line, and then you spread it with your finger from edge to edge. And you put them where you want to. Okay, and I'll do this again. Dixie Belle has sealer in it. I just realized I probably didn't seal over this. I could probably do it later, but technically I shouldn't have to since it has a sealer in it, and after 30 days it'll be cured. So we'll see. I might go back over that later. I just thought of that. So this is my new sign for my kitchen. Boy, I need a bigger camera. So there we go. She's almost done. I'll have to do the back side. I'll have to adjust the hanger because it was hanging vertical, not horizontal. So there she is. And Becky, let me know your address. Private message me, and I'll get that sent out to you. You guys have a great week, and I plan to see you Friday. I hopefully will have a new craft and a new, not to say the word, new giveaway. Facebook and their rules. You gotta love it. You guys have a great week. Bye.